Hello and welcome everyone to a Sacred Symbols reading. I'm your host, Desiree DeMars, and it is February 18th, 2024. And I'm doing this reading as a representation of an inquiry that we're making for the full moon coming up in Virgo on the 24th. Let's just drop down into our own centers, our own core, our own central channel of energy, and we're just going to do a little aligning and clearing if need be. So I invite you to call in any guides, angels, and teachers that you work with for your own protection, so that we call in this shield or this field of power, protection, guidance, so that what is mine and what is yours, right? Each of us having our own clear understanding of what is true for us. And the rest you just take with a grain of salt, and there's not necessarily action to be had. So again, it's just being observant, and I ask you to observe now your own central channel and feel a brilliant white light coming down from the heavens and anchoring you all the way down to the center of the earth. And when you feel the center of the earth, this deep, feminine, creative source of power, of life force, this iron molten core, just know as it wells up, as it expands forth, which is its nature, just to expand upward energetically and create a toroidal field around the planet Earth. And so you have your own toroidal field, and you also can align with the Earth's toroidal field. So aligning the heart and the head, we're coming into coherence, allowing the heart to open as we are clearing the central channel so that all of our chakras are open, fully functioning, front and back, balanced and aligned. So just know as this energy builds, it's activating your base chakra, your own immune system, your own vital life force, this red blood, the hemoglobin in the blood, the red blood cells. And that then is activating red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, and white, and spilling out over the top of the head and continuing this flow of energy that is infinite and eternal. Infinite and eternal, the great mystery before us, the part of this cosmic soup from which we came, the star that you are, connected to your own star nation, wherever that may be. So feel that connection too, and then becoming aware of the emotions that are connected to these energy centers: joy, peace, and strength, courage, gratitude, humility, and divine love. Feel the increase of these frequencies expanding now outward, flowing into that great mystery, becoming one, because everything is connected, and we are able to tap into our superconscious awareness of these things just by our nature, right? Simply by allowing ourselves to receive this higher level of information. So with that said, just imagine now we are creating a sacred circle for this reading of protection, guidance, clarity, by calling in all of the directions: the east, the south, the west, the north, above, below, and the middle. Come and be with us. Come and be with us as we sit in the sacred circle, calling forth not only these directions, but all of the elementals associated with them: earth, air, fire, water, ether, plasma, neutrinos, gammas, and all those elements yet unknown to man. Come and be with us. Come and be with us. Be with us and co-create this sacred circle. Bring your wisdom, guidance, and truth into the mix. Come and be with us. Come and be with us. Join us in creating this expanded circle of sacred energy, love, and divine truth. all of our guides, angels, teachers, the mystical, the magical, the seen, the unseen, the two-legged, the four-legged, the many-legged, the winged ones, the finned ones, and the creepy crawlers. Come and be with us. Come and be with us. Anyone, anything that you feel is important for you to be able to maintain this connection, this higher resonant frequency, so that you stay in a place of coherence with your heart and that the mind follows suit, right? And trust that heartfelt energy. Come and be with us. Come and be with us. All of our ancestors, those who've gone before us, lived a good life and transcended and are now here working on our behalf, being present on our behalf to sit here in the sacred circle to receive clarity about these next couple of weeks coming forward with this Virgo full moon 2024. Come and be with us, all of those whose names we do not know, but whose blood runs through our veins. Come and be with us. Sit with us in this sacred circle that is not only representative of the central core channel that we rest in, that we are, that we beam outward, that we express externally, but let that energy flow freely out beyond the building that we're in, the space that we're sitting in, the environment outside, which of course represents our true ancestors, every aspect of plant, mineral, bacteria, virus, whatever, all the minuscule aspects of life that have come forward before us to create us and our ancestry. So again, take a moment, take a couple of deep breaths. If you can, let's take a couple of vagal breaths so that we're inhaling, expanding the lung, and then even further, and holding, and then exhaling out through the mouth, nice and slow. And one more if you can. Inhale. And exhale through the mouth. And then allowing the sound of the rattle to even further enhance the theta alpha state that it induces in our field. So I welcome you now to join me in blowing into the basket 3 times with this heartfelt intention. Full moon clarity. Whether it's conscious or unconscious, may it align us to our own truth, and may we stay steady on that path, ever moving forward into our soul's full expression. Thank you. Okay, so here we are with our spread today, which is really fascinating. You would be sitting here, and I am here, right across from this dice with the 4 on it. And what's fascinating to me about this spread today is that it's pretty open in the center, you can see here. So things are kind of wide open, but we have an interesting configuration of pieces here. And then we've got rebirth here. Again, we have some pieces that normally do not end up on their side, which is fascinating. and pieces resting on each other, which I'll show you as we get closer to that part of the reading. So to begin, let's start though here at the inquiry. This forked bone, if you've been watching the readings, or a piece of coral, I'm sorry, this piece of coral is open to the spread here, especially this piece, which kind of caught my eye, or this collection of pieces. And what's fascinating here is this opening to whatever your inquiry was. Now, this this is powerful. So this is talking stick. We have the greats, the greats, the great great greats, all your great ancestors on your father's side, and this is your father. So at both arms reaching out, or both aspects of this inquiry, let's say we're looking at kind of the spiritual journey, reflecting on Father, the great mystery of that. In fact, the ancient ones on your father's side is right here. And this piece, this bone, is representative of transfiguration, sudden and unexpected, which I mentioned earlier about Uranus influences. And finally, this piece here of representing the blueprint of your life. And then we have grandmother on your father's side. So your paternal grandmother, your father, your great ones, and also this tiny little bone here represents that which is not yet created. So it's really reflecting this aspect of the great mystery, being a part of all of this. Whoever the other is, there are influence of the other in your life, somebody else. But there's something about, giving honor and space to each individual, whatever their truth is. So there must be respect for the other's expression, right? The other's truth, even if it's not in line with yours. And this is, a really fascinating piece. This that which is not created, yet created bone can represent multiple things. Could mean a project not yet created, could mean a vision, an idea not yet created. It can also mean, obviously, something in the future that has not come forth yet to your awareness. And then it also, in ancestral terms, it represents often it could be a lost child through death, abortion, some kind of disease, health issue, where that person was not fully formed, right? Not fully, didn't have a full life ahead of them. It was cut short in some way. Could be very unusual circumstances, but just basically meaning something which has not yet been created, right, fully to its fullest. So, we already know the potency of this Uranian energy. We understand that, but how does the other play into all of this? Well, here is our crown chakra, or our third eye. Excuse me, it's this little violet piece here. Our third eye. I'm knocking everything over. Third eye. Okay, it doesn't want to stay in my hand. Third eye. So, obviously be aware. The veil is thin, things are coming through, we're all getting downloads. The third eye can be totally receptive, and it's totally connected to the throat chakra. So we know there's this partnership of insight and then expressing. And that would make sense here with this piece, talking stick, which was about, speaking truth, or speaking, and also at the same time, speaking your mind, speaking from a place of sovereignty, and yet having respect for the others, right? So of higher mind, I would say, higher, seeing things from a greater perspective again. So it is time to receive that wisdom. It's time to co-create, right, with your surroundings. Here's a piece on its side again, taking this perspective of what does that mean to co-create with the other. So take into consideration another or their others or others' ideas. especially creative ideas of things that have not yet been created. And then it's moving into the center here, which is fascinating, which is rattle. So it's like calling something down. And here is our throat chakra, calling something down from, we're getting this download, calling it down into the throat and then expressing it. And expressing it from a place of innocence, right? Awe and wonder for the information that's coming through. And then here again is another piece that was on its side, and it's horse. Horse on its side, on deer toe, moving forward into this idea of calling in. Take action, move forward towards something that you are co-creating with another to bring forth ideas, maybe that would bring forth some kind of a genius, is what I'm hearing, that wouldn't be there alone, for you alone, or the other alone. And then here's another ancestor on your father's side, which is really fascinating. So we got this huge paternal ancestry energy here, and this is a young one on your father's side. So where it merges here is with this idea of movement, with the vocalization or the expression. And through that, it's through the great ones, it's mirroring this, the great ones on your mother's side. And below that, the greats and the great, great, greats on your maternal side of your ancestry, we have I'm just blanking out here. It's the base, the third chakra. So like it's like bringing all this into power, right? Bringing it all into power, because we have our crown. We're downloading, things are coming in from the crown into the third eye, through the throat, and it's moving into this place of power, right? It takes the power of intention, just like that I am presence. You know, the intention has to have all its attention, it has to have attention placed on it, and then we have to move, you know, it's about the holo movement. And then we've also got the ancient ancestors, the men, the ancient ones on your mother's side, the men, the ancient men, and we have the ancient men here on your father's. So it's pretty fascinating the way these are pairing up. The greats and the great great greats and the greats, great great greats, and these are the ancient beyond those greats, the ancient ones that came before all, right? All that we could have known in a lifetime or two. And it's all kind of moving toward, you know, in this direction, outward here, or this is kind of the entryway into the center point. And I mentioned this already, being like a rebirth. So if you're feeling that about yourself, like parts of you that you were never aware of, there's something, you know, some truth to this. It's like there's a part of you being birthed, and it's a very angelic, these are the angelic energies, this little shell here, and it's open, like the backside of it is wide open. And I would say that is representative of these kind of the magical or the mystical, the mystery, the blessings coming in through this time of rebirth. And it's, I would say these angelic aspects could possibly represent that part of the soul that is light, right? That is the purest in form. So you're just getting to know that part of yourself, and we're having to integrate it into the mind to find balance of mind. And this is the chakra up above, the white light shining down from the heavens and anchoring us all the way down to the base chakra, right? All the way down to the base. And here's second. So that's so interesting. First, second, all the way to the top. Here we have our vision, and I mentioned this already, this piece was standing on its side. So there's something here about vision. We're still kind of reaching out on this, we're still on this, you know, I'd say it's like a spiritual segue. And then we have eagle condor, you know, on its side too, looking in, another piece on its side, telling us, guiding us with its wisdom, saying, keep yourself rooted and grounded. Know that your DNA is going through huge transitions. So it's still, again, important to speak your truth. Speak your truth at whatever phase you're in, or any whatever cycle you're in of this spiritual journey. So if there's something that seems a little foggy about the vision that you hold, just know, it's important right now to meditate. Here we have Buddha, third eye open, tap into the wisdom of your star nations. Right on top of star nations, so we have Venus. So yeah, what is truth, love, and beauty? We have the divine feminine, embodied and being held within you. So notice that divine feminine within yourself in physical form, embodied in this human being, the experience of a human being. And then we have right near that is community. So I can't, express the importance enough to have some kind of a community connection for yourself. Here's the shaman. I encourage everyone to listen to Pam Gregory's at pamgregory.com. She has gotten scammed, so make sure it's, Pam Gregory YouTube, pamgregory.com. I don't think she does Instagram, so don't follow her there, but follow her YouTube channel, and she's doing new and full moon readings and way more than that. She's interviewing amazing people at this time. And as I'm looking near this divine feminine, that within your home, within your internal home and your personal home, we have a restructuring going on. Saturn's happening here. There's Saturn influences, and we have grandmother on your mother's side. So it's kind of interesting. And here's your mother. I'm gonna have to pull this up. Well, here, it's just in the frame here. I'm gonna point this out. We've got mother. Just the tip of it is showing. Okay, there we go. We've got mother. So it's almost like here are the paternal ancestors and here are the maternal ancestors, finding balance here. And the center is pretty wide open. I'm actually getting chills just thinking about this. And really what is emphasized again is this rebirth, that we are all being reborn right now from the highest degree, highest levels. We're having to understand new aspects of ourselves, of others, about the truths, the science, everything about science, about health, about communication, about human interaction, right? Relationships, everything, everything. So we're creating new foundations here. This is what I say, this full circle is like about creating new foundations. But being, doing it all from the state of innocence, awe, and wonder. I also wanted to point out that two of the pieces I like to really look at that I feel are important are the lock and the key. And so we have, interestingly enough, the lock and the key very close together. Grandfather on your mother's side, this idea of a divine union with the self, with the soul. And here is fork in the road. So that is really fascinating. Let's break this down a little bit and then we'll wind things down. But if you're feeling like there's a fork in the road, there may be a sense that one aspect of it feels unknown. There's no way of knowing. It's, it could feel everything is locked up, unavailable, out of sight. And the other side is all about ceremony. So how could we interpret this? Ceremony with a piece, a shell right on top of it that is representative of your own medicine, of a power, an amulet, a piece of power, right? Something that represents power for healing, for clarifying. So here is ceremony. So if you're looking at, heading in that direction, it's all about ceremony. Looking at it in this direction, we're looking at movement, right? Huge movement, I would say, because this is Mars. So a lot of passion, movement, insightfulness, right? This is bear claw, so it's all about introspection, really having to Take time for introspection, especially around your work, and grounding that work into the earth. Take time to reflect on that, because all those things I just said, they're on the other side of the lock, and there is the key. So if we were to look at that more, quite literally, we'd say the key is to, maybe it's about diving in, even though if there's a space or a place or an option in your life right now that looks like everything's locked up tight and there's nothing happening. And it may feel like, it might be a very earthy, this is representing the earth. So it may feel like something in your day-to-day life, your everyday life, if you are looking at this idea of, quite a bit that may feel unknown, and that if you dive into it, it's going to be a lot of movement, a lot of energy, a lot of passion. What it will be important is to take time for introspection, time to reflect, time to especially reflect on your work in the world, or just your work job, and if you want to continue to pursue that, or do you want to make some kind of revisions, or what's going on there. But it's all about, keeping it grounded, because you do have protection around that. So that is the key. And I would say, so in another way of saying that is the key to feeling guided and protected. If you dive into this passionate undertaking, this fiery, unknown, maybe unformed idea, and you're going to take it further, know that you've got the influence of Pluto, which is kind of like once you're in, there's no stopping it. And then the bottom line is that it will, though, be the key that unlocks whatever it was you felt was stopping you in the first place. Or maybe from the past. We could look at this as the past, present, future. This future is all about, there's something very key to being in your passion, having time for insight, introspection, reflection, grounding yourself, and really knowing your work in the world. And just knowing that you're totally protected and guided through this entire experience. Whereas on the other hand, it may sound really easy and simple. It's a little more out there, a little more detached. Let's just look at it as a possibility and an option. So if you are at this fork in the road and the other says, wow, it's all about ceremony and healing, that, I'm guessing, is probably going to get you to the same place. You will find that key. So there are two ways to go, right? You can take kind of the softer mode, the ceremonial mode, and that is not to say that ceremony is easy. I mean, I just sat in a Tibetan New Year ceremony, and it seemed like it was really long. It wasn't, there were aspects of it that weren't that comfortable every moment physically. And the words and the chanting brought things up too. So this is not to say just because you're doing ceremony and creating or wearing or addressing objects of power and healing, that's not to say that that isn't, that won't entail some deep diving into really seeing things for what they are, or accepting things the way they are, or making changes, or any of that, any of those things that it seems like over here is kind of overflowing with energy. This seems calmer. And yet, I would say, either way, it's once you decide which way you're going to go, you're in, and there's no turning back. And then basically, you will end up finding the key to whatever it is you're looking for. It'll just be a completely different route. So again, maintaining this idea of the eagle eye, the eagle's perch, staying grounded, knowing our DNA is changing as we go through this photon belt, and we are being bombarded, we're being affected by these amazing solar rays, right? These solar flares, M class, X class, more than we've ever had in years put together we're having in this 1 year or two. It's just been crazy. So just know this is all building up to an incredible awakening to a vision, a much greater vision for humankind. Not and you being a part of that, you're not excluded. You are a part of all of that. Wow. And just know, as I'm looking at this area here, which I didn't cover much, let me pull it back for you. This area here, this I say overall is, we've got a lot of Jupiter energy, make a wish, keep yourself grounded, know that here's the sun. These solar flares will also be affecting our heart. But and everything might feel really amplified right now. This is Jupiter. And the ancestor that's close to all of this is your mother. So your mother, the shaman, right? The ancient ancestors on your father's side, the women, right? Those women, really, and the grandmother on your mother's side, she's right here. So this is the eye of God facing inward, eye of God facing inward. So insight, take that time for insight so that you can really observe yourself and see how you're personally being affected by these earth changes. How is your heart? The heart seems to be, the heart coherence is really important, and the heart is really important to be following our hearts right now, even in the midst of this chaos, the craziness, the things falling apart, and really a key player in the aspect of having discernment, right? So when everything is amplified, our emotions are going to be amplified. This is the moon. We have Neptune. Things are going to seem foggy, unclear, and you're going to have to, we are all learning how to self-identify as frequency, right? Like these new dimensions of ourselves. This is all about frequency. So, and it's time, the time is now. Let's see where the other timekeeper is, if I can find it. Sometimes I cannot find it when I want it because it's hidden under something or below something. So here, let's see, here we have it, timekeeper. It's out here and here. So there is movement, but like this shift that's happening, I think whatever we're feeling too with this intensification with the full moon, it's really just the buildup or the pre-show, the appetizer, could I say, to this incredible eclipse that's coming up in April. We're going to have a solar eclipse. So, things, you have a little breathing room. This is why it's important to be taking time for insight and inner reflection so that you can maintain your balance, stay focused, stay in your own truth, and have clarity about what these choices are that you're making, whether it's for you or your family or your workplace, right? Trying to just straighten this out a little for you. So here is the spread. It's a beautiful spread. I hope there was a nugget or two in this reading that was appropriate for you, that spoke to you, that was powerful and potent for you. Sometimes it's just a word or two or one phrase or something that feels really big for us and then gives us that breadcrumb or that next step of understanding or pulls things together. So I hope it was some of that for you. And I, again, deeply encourage everyone to check out Pam Gregory, astrologer, on her YouTube channel. She just did a couple of videos that were really great, one especially about this full moon coming up. And not only does she speak about the full moon, but she speaks about the greater picture of what this full moon is just, I would say, igniting as we come into this total solar eclipse in April. So, again, take a breath in, hold, and then exhale. Let yourself come back into your body, feeling grounded. And with gratitude and appreciation to all of our ancestors, all of our guides, angels, and teachers, all the energies that were here to help us today, to not only receive that for ourselves, but to express that, let that flow outward toward all those we come in contact with, so that they may receive the benefits of it too. In full faith, so be it. Aho. Again, thank you for joining me, and have a wonderful Virgo full moon on the 24th.